to a day in the office. This is January 30th, 2026 at approximately 3:39 p.m. Now, my name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. And I don't have anything really planned. I never do have anything really planned for a day in the office. I'm just here, quite literally, building an empire and answering questions while I'm at it. Now, right off the bat, we have Philip Blair. You are in with the gold. How you doing, Philip? Hey, guess what? You get the news flash. This funny little thing here. Matter of fact, this one we'll open up and take a peek at while I'm here, sitting here. I just have to get it open so I can actually see it. Now, what do we got? Gotta be careful I don't actually damage something. Because I just went to the printer this afternoon. And this here, you're literally watching me open it. And this is when it first just came home today. Came home about an hour or so back. But there we have it. Believe in your success and follow your dreams. This is this is, I think, the 9th book now in print. It's not on the site yet because I only just got it. And yep. Very short, very short, but very powerful. And that's the whole kicker to it. Success is not something that takes a lot of work to. Now let's see. We have Cowie Schneider. You are in with the silver. How you doing, Cowie? Now, what do we got here? Oh, wait a minute. I missed something. My apologies. Operation Shutdown. You are the one with the silver. Cowie, you are in with the bronze. The reality is everybody is equally important. This little book has just hit the market. It's just hitting the market now. Let me go and take a peek because I want to make sure I give you the right info. Go to the shop and we go down to, there we are. And yep, when it gets online, and that just boils down to getting a hold of Storm and getting him to pop it online, okay, this little book that paints a very simple direction on how to attain your success. Now, the fact that while I'm behind the 8 ball, I'm actually managing to get ahead, I'm actually managing to get things done, that kind of says that I'm on the right track, I think, in my opinion. But again, including shipping, $20. Okay, and we are talking 20 Canadian. Let me see here. Yep. I could walk through this, but right now, it really boils down to an issue of making certain I'm doing things in the right order. Now, what do we got? Okay. Just making sure I didn't miss something. It's funny, that the reality is I'm working at, I am changing the way my life is going. I'm just simply here to walk you through it. Because I'll tell you, if I can make a mistake, so can you. I'm nothing special, by the way. I'm really not. But I have come to the conclusion. Oh, by the way, just so you're aware, I can get more when I desire them. My printer is just down the street from me. But, and Joe Stewart, how are we doing? So, while I'm sitting here, let's do a couple of things. Number one, I do have to, I can put that there. Nice part about this, if you take a look at this, the original title for this is Another Issue. But you'll notice that the S, unlike with the show with the character from DC called Superman, S does not stand for hope. It stands for success. And if you look at the legs, they are P's because they represent purpose, plan, patience, and purpose, plan, persistence, and patience. The 4 P's of success. And we're actually covering. Oh, as a matter of fact, I did not get that out today because I got a little occupied. So I will have to do that as soon as I get off this screen. Talk about cutting it tight. But today is Friday, which means we will get it out before the end of January. Talk about cutting things tight, but what the heck? So, what do we got here? Gee, I wish I could. And I am really looking forward to getting my glasses replaced. The neat little part about this, where is my clip? There we are. Let us make this happen. Okay. So, first rule of thumb. That worked well. Never said I was coordinating. Okay, 10. There we are. Okay. So, you desire a request. Well, let's ask you this. Do you actually know what you consider a success? I know from my standpoint, okay, first and foremost, we go. Since I'm in here, this works out really well. We go. Monitor. Computer. Calendar. Shelf. Table. And floor. I was, to say the least, a little on the hectic side today. We got a food order in, and we have literally restocked our pantry. Of course, the neat little kicker there is we now have to get it organized and figure out where everything's going to go. Would be nice if I wasn't overheating, but what the heck. Okay. Now, where do we start? Well, Saxwood's always necessary, in case I need it. Pop that up there. Now, first and foremost, what is this? Okay. Now this, again, I have a tendency, in case you hadn't noticed, to get way too many things on the go at the same time. That's a shredder, in case you haven't figured it out. I do have to see if those belong there. And what are we looking at? Well, that's very nice of you, Philip. Actually, the reason I get those ones is because I personally don't like chocolate too terribly much. So we get those to make sure I don't have to worry about them. Where are we here? Yeah, not going to happen. Okay, I'm going to have to sort those out afterwards. So, these are ones, and these are articles and what have you, that I believe are already copied, are already transcribed. And yeah, these ones should be, so they'll go into, because as soon as I get done, I should have had it a long time ago, but I did want to get January out. If you're already getting the newsletter, well, magazine, then if you were already signed in for it, now I realize it's been 6 months since I've been out of print. Where are we here? Cosmic, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And let's just take a peek here. Now, go back to the top. We have Philip in with the gold, Operation Silver. Oh. Kohene, how we doing? And I do not know if I can see that right. Let's see if I can. We are. Yep. Cohen Lee. I do appreciate that and welcome aboard. And I did not see you come in. So we have Philip in with the gold. We have Philip in with the gold. Operation with the silver. Koene, you are in with the bronze, which brings Cowie in with the honorable mention. And we scroll down, see if we missed anybody. Probably did. That seems to be the way it works right now. And there's Cosmic. How you doing? I think we covered that once already. Ah. The neat part there, Joe, I do feel for you regarding your Facebook page. There is so much going south around here that we really have to start looking at it and going, okay, what are we going to do to change this world? Because I'll tell you, we leave it to the leaders. I just found out about somebody who, aside from me, the government has completely scrambled. Okay, what do we got? The monitor shelf is done. I will be eventually replacing the monitor, but it's out of the way. Computer desk is clear. So it can be checked off. Now my calendar's up front and that's okay. But the desk itself needs to be straightened out. Eyeballs. And again, with, like I said, I'm building an empire here. And yes, I realize on the bigger scene, I am absolutely nothing. Okay, I really am. Yeah, the reality with the person I found out about is the government. They made a mistake. Now I'm in Canada, okay, and I know this happens all over the world. Okay, governments claim to be looking out for you, but they make more mistakes than I care to count, and they seem to think that they're above and beyond. Okay, now I'm not perfect by any functional means. The neat part there, Cosmic, we've had a phenomenally warm summer. I mean, we're down below freezing quite regularly. But the reality is we had 10 minutes of snow on Christmas Day. I was happy. Yeah, it's amazing. I actually watched, Philip's going, people stuff happens with people. It does. And it was amazing a few years back. I saw a report from some of the leading oceanographers. They did a 3-year study. Okay. Now, we are talking the leading oceanographers around the world. It took them 3 years to figure this out. Now, I'm going to posit a question for you. I'm going to give you a few minutes to see if anybody can come up with an answer. Okay, what they were looking for is why do 80% of shark attacks, 80 to 90% of shark attacks, happen in shallow water? Now, this was a 3-year study with the brightest minds in the oceanographer science field. Does anybody have any clue? And yes, I am sitting on the answer. Okay. But does anybody have any clue why this would be the case? Why would 90% of shark attacks happen in shallow water? Any idea at all? In all fairness, what I found, like I posited a question like this. Well, Cowie, that is partially correct. That is an overstated way, but yes. See, sharks are attracted by movement. Okay, they really are. But here's a bottom line thing for you. Okay, 90%, and this took me 10 seconds, I think, to figure out. 90% of shark attacks happen in water because that's where the people are. Now, the brightest minds in the oceanographer industry came to this conclusion after 3 years of study. I find the same thing happens, okay, with people in other industries. It takes them forever to piece together the simplest answers. And more often than not, in my experience, the simple answers are the ones that hold. Okay. Now, did I actually save any money on this? Because one of the keys to actually getting ahead in this world is, to build an empire, is figure out where your miscalculations are. Okay. Now, this was a grocery order because I decided, well, my wife and I decided we were going to actually restock our pantry instead of sitting there time and again going, oh, look, we've got a can of soup left. We're going to have to go shop. Instead, I called in a massive order. What have we got here? Philip's going, the deepest recorded shark is the Portuguese dogfish. Where are we? Centroseminus Qualopia. And it's been observed at depths of nearly 3,700 meters, or about 12,000 feet. About 12,000 feet also means just over 2 miles. Now, the shark is a phenomenal animal, designed for one functional purpose: cleanup. Okay, it's a scavenger, it's a hunter, you name it, it'll do it. Okay, here's the thing: people have a staggering capacity to be successful if you get out of your own way. So, we take a look here. The table is clear. So it gets clocked off. The shelf is clear. It gets clocked off. Now, let's take a look at this little detail. We have the shelf, the calendar table. I don't have it here. I kind of looked at the clock and went, oh, look at that. I'm going to be running real late. So I require this. Somewhere in here, I've got all sorts of things. And if I go here, that's all legal I don't get. What is this? Well, that worked well. There. That's all I needed was my file and have my paper. Because here's the thing with building an empire, with making things happen. Okay, you've got to get an idea in your head of what you're aiming for. Now this was done this morning, so this information I definitely have to have that. Where? Yeah, and honestly, Joe, like Joe Stewart is just saying, he goes, I remember what you said once. If you're questioning yourself that you're crazy, you're not. And the reason I said that is because the moment you start questioning it, you already know that you're analyzing something. Well, if you're crazy, you won't analyze it. Now, there are many people that do not believe they're off kilter. Okay. And yes, some of you will look at me going, you're doing everything against what everybody has said. And I am. Okay. Because I came to the conclusion that I was the only one that could actually alter the path I'm on. Now, I've made some pretty dense maneuvers. What is this? These I do not require. And yes, I have decided that I am getting rid of everything I don't require. What is that? There has to be. There we are. Okay, let's pop that open. And again, I'm only working on one monitor, which is not enough for me. I definitively require another one, but I've got to start putting money aside for it. Last January, what was this? This one here was done on January 24th. And that means we go 2, 4, 8, 21. Okay. I think this one gave me a little bit of savings as well. That's wings. Don't need that. These are just receipts, because many receipts I find are overstated, to put it simply. Okay, that is Skype, and that is no longer there. Told you I was getting rid of stuff that I no longer had a use for. The neat part about it, let me get back to that. Whoop, eyeballs. And we are looking at here. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Phil was just letting us know when you look up Portuguese dogfish, a devastatingly handsome guy shows up holding a very ugly fish. No offense to the ugly fish. You know, see, the funny part about it, when you start looking at sanity, I got thinking about this. There's a neat little thing here, and you don't have to believe in Christmas to believe in the Sanity Claus. You know, one of the neat little parts about it, what is that? One of the neat little parts about this whole setup is when you start going, okay, I'm building this. People are going to say you're nuts. I'm nobody to speak of. Okay, as a matter of fact, from my standpoint, I kind of figured that nobody was going to pay attention. Lord knows I babble a lot. What is this? I'm the expense, and I can go up there for a moment. And then we go here. You'll notice I'm going through and through different files and what have you. Oh, there we go. I knew that was there. So we go back to that. And what day was that on? That was on January 29th. See, here's the thing. One of the keys to getting ahead, okay, to really getting ahead in your life, is to turn around and go, okay, I have this neat little situation. I'm saving money. Okay. Now, what does that usually mean to people? Well, normally it means you didn't pay quite as much. Okay. You didn't spend quite as much because you either because you got points coming in or you got sales going on. And I only look at the sales where you actually save money. But here's the kicker. If you're told you saved X number of dollars, like with this is a butcher shop that I go to regularly by the name of Johnny's Meats. But they got a neat little program where they give you cash back off of what you're buying. Yeah, I don't blame you there. Phelps goes 12 degrees Fahrenheit is not enough degrees in my opinion. In my honest opinion, sorry. Now, when you save money, some stores will do this. Johnny's does. So does the IGA I go to. And this one, I end up saving $3.53. But here's the kicker. Okay. If you take that money and you put it back in your pocket and spend it on something else, you're not saving money. Okay. You're simply redistributing where you spent it. What was that? 343? No, 353. Now, when did I start tracking this? Way back in May of last year, I had to make a withdrawal from my savings account in order to simply keep a roof over my head. That was accomplished. Now, this one here. There we are. That is on the 27th. And we go here. Pop that. That won't work. Pop that over there. See, I got an actual savings account put aside. I actually talked to the bank manager and explained why what he had was not an actual savings account. So he made some modifications. How he did it, I don't know. I also don't care. Okay. But he made some adjustments, and net result, we now have a savings account that literally costs nothing to leave my money in. Okay. Because of that, I can actually put money there and know it's staying put. Okay, I don't lose anything to fees unless I pull money out of it. Now, that's not entirely a bad thing because it does. Well, that was wrong. That is 27th. Okay. But I take that money, now I've tracked it, and one of my next steps, as I get the money in to do it, I will be taking that money and putting the money back into my savings account. Because it started off, I had money in the savings account and I wiped it out. I ended up pulling something in the neighborhood of $600 out of it just to keep a roof over my head. Okay. Now, over the last year, I've had savings that I never did move. Okay. But I've got another $400 worth to move into that account. These are, this is here. There we go. And this one. So I've just about got the table itself cleared at this point. Okay. Oh yeah, I found that out the hard way. Like Philip is going, sometimes the regular price is better than the sale price. I actually talked to the grocery manager about that because I'd gone in and it said, tomato soup on sale, $1.20. Now, whoever put the sale sign up didn't move the original price. The original price was 99 cents, right? And I asked the manager, I said, "What's with this?" So I pointed it to him, and he goes, "Oh." He says, "Well, let's start with the clear part. It is legal. We are selling this at $1.20." But he said the reality is that quite often what we will do is bring the price up and we will sell more because it's got this orange ticket that says it's a sale. This is where it pays to be observant. Okay. And one of the things we have to remember, and I asked, he just flat out told me, he says, "Look, if you're ever questioning it, ask what the original price was." Okay. And you might, depending on the store, you may be able to get, you may be able to buy the item at the original price. Okay. But he said sometimes it won't happen. With them, he said it will. I just look at it going, am I going to bother with it? This. Look at that. On January 28th, we have, and this is why I hang on to these receipts. Let's go back over here. And we go 29 353. And then that was on 27th. Nope, that was on 28th. 28th, we had saved 0.59. Now, these little bits and pieces, I'll tell you, they do add up. Okay, but the fact is, If it tells you you're saving money and you're just flat out spending it again, you didn't save a thing. You really didn't. Okay. Now that one was the original, and that's okay. So, like I said, well, let me grab a new one of those. This little book. Okay. Now again, if you go to the link at the top of the page, at the top of the chat room, you'll find a place called buymeacoffee.com/inner voice J. Okay. That's where you can find every book I've got, with the sole exception for the moment of this one. Okay. This is Believe in Your Success and Follow Your Dreams. Okay. It's just come out of the printer. So I've got to get it into Storm to upgrade my website. Okay. But this will ask you the basic questions of how to get ahead. Now, to be clear, Imposter Perceptions, which comes out tonight, okay, I kept getting sidetracked, so it's going to come out tonight. Okay, it is a free magazine, and as you can well imagine, I don't put negative information in it. See if I've got it up and running here. Positive perception. If we go all the way up here, here we go, the bad news and crime section, and this is straight out of the magazine. Okay, the bad news and crime section. We at Inner Voice Enterprises readily acknowledge that bad things do happen in this world. As such, we have chosen to do like so many other people and periodicals and other reporting agencies do, and write an article on the bad things that happen around the world. So, as you travel about in your life, find another newspaper, magazine, newspaper, magazine, post, newsletter, or news channel site by which to get disappointed in people and or depressed. Okay, I'm just not touching that stuff. So this particular magazine is now, when you come top to bottom, it is absolutely free. Okay, and 18 pages long right now. Now it will start to grow. And the reality of it is this: I'm not the only person on the planet. I don't have access to everything. Now, what do we got? Yes, tomorrow is January. But, the reality is I've got to get this magazine out. I kept saying it's got to go out, and I'm running into problems because I keep getting caught up with, I don't know, life. But my other half, Kira, has said she will be back here at 8 o'clock tonight with us. Okay. In the meantime, now I've got all that sorted out. And again, especially now, when you look at success, the first thing you got to determine is number one, what do you feel is success? Okay. What is your definition of success? For me, it's simple. Okay. One of the obvious issues is I can pay my bills without assistance. Right now, I'm on disability and CPP. But I am now starting to advertise and push the idea of actually getting ahead in this world. Okay. Oh, look at that. It would seem we did what we were aiming at there. Now, where is. Whoops, that goes back into the Cure project, so let's get that in order. This is what I mean by a putter in the office. Is that project here? There, that's good. Okay. Let me pop that in there, and we're good to go. Now, somewhere in this mess, and I'm thinking it's up front, and if it is, then I've got a problem. No, those are articles I gotta go for. So did I leave it here? It would seem so. Now, what have we got? I gotta do something about those. Joe is going, even if it's loose change, pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters, put it in a change bucket or piggy bank and just save it and save up. For what? I don't know. Well, here's the thing. Okay, as long as you don't turn around and spend it, it's savings. Okay, and this is where it becomes such a critical issue. Now, from my standpoint, it's a pretty cut and dried little problem. Okay, the biggest mistake anybody that my parents made. Now, I got nothing against my parents. They spent 60 years under one roof. I never heard of one fight, even from anybody else, that they had between them. Now, this painted a beautiful landscape for me. I've been married now for almost 6 months. As a matter of fact, it works out really well. My wife and my actual 6 month anniversary of marriage falls on, you guessed it, Valentine's Day. Okay. Now, in the almost 5.5 years we've been together, we've never had so much as an argument. Okay. I don't know if this will continue, but it's certainly what we're aiming for. You know, so one of the things that I'm looking at is this. My parents made one miscalculation. They did not talk to me and talk to any of us, as near as I can figure, about how finances work in the day-to-day world. So what I'm doing with these books, okay, the first one that came out was Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams. Then believe in your business and follow your dreams. Believe in your career and follow your dreams. Now we've got believe in your success and follow your dreams. I figure I spent 60 years figuring this stuff out. Okay. And honestly, the way I figure it, if I can get this information into small forms. Now, lots of people have written all kinds of self-help books. And the one thing I keep finding out about them is you pay 50, 60 bucks to get one. This is a cute thought until you realize that half of the books, and I do mean every one of the ones I've looked at, half of them have said, here's a whole pile of people that were successful, okay, that took their life and turned it around. I figure you want to read up on other people that got success, that became successful, that's your call. So instead of charging you 50 to 60 bucks, I'm looking at this and going 60 years of fighting to get ahead. 60 years. Okay. And I'm dropping it into, well, this particular booklet, larger print, Believe in Your Success. I'm just looking for how many pages. Is a mind-boggling 24 pages long. Okay. And that includes the catalog. Okay. Every one of the books that I write has a couple of things in common. They're concise. They tell you how to make it happen. Now you get to do your own research. Okay. You get to figure out, are you going to be successful? Now, once you decide on that, these books tell you, here's what you're aiming for. Maybe it's your own self-esteem, maybe it's your business. And where it comes to your business, the thing you got to remember is that the most important business, in my opinion, in the world is running a household. Okay. But for pity's sakes, if you've got kids, if you've got charges that you're taking care of, if you've got family, include them in the discussion of your finances. Because if you don't teach them at home, they're going to have to learn it the hard way. Okay. Now, here I am. I am not fluid yet. And I'm certainly not affluent. Okay. But what I have done is I've taken a look at the books and gone, okay, what can I accomplish? Yeah. Philip goes, one plan that seems to work sometimes is inherit a couple of $1 billion, or even just $800 million. Here's the sad reality of that. Okay, and you are right; it does work sometimes, but people have ended up getting those kinds of inheritances or winning the lottery almost invariably. If you don't learn how to curb your spending, you don't learn how to handle money first of all, almost invariably, the person that wins that kind of money is in worse shape within 3 years than they were before they got the money. Because it just goes. Point in fact, about, probably 4 years ago, I end up inheriting over $100,000. The problem was I was still doing the same stupid maneuvers. Okay, I am now and have been for the last 2 years in the red. I've been living on credit and fighting to survive. I finally broke that. Okay, I finally broke that pattern. And now, as the money starts rolling in, I am going to end up ahead of the game. Now, what do we got here? Let us see. I do want to get into that, and we go here. I'm actually going into my Buy Me a Coffee to see something here. And again, good luck getting hacking my database. Where are this? Nope, not that one. There we are. Okay. So we go into that and we go. Now we go in here. I'm just going in to buy me a coffee here to take a look and see where we're standing. Now we are in the shop. Let's go to home. And not edit page, we don't need that. But what I do want to take a look at this is not what I require. Supporters. There we go. Let's go to dashboard. That's what I needed. There we go. Now, I was told ages ago that buy a marketing consultant, try and get my business. And what he turned around. Oh, where are we here? Oh, yeah, no. The neat part there, Phil's just going, this explains how you had 10,000 to hire a for-profit marketing firm. In all fairness, that was done on hiring them with the promise, where I had to pay for it, with the promise they were going to actually enhance my marketing. The 100,000 I got, I honestly I ended up blowing it. Okay, I did give about half of it away. Okay, I literally, well, I shouldn't say gave it away. I loaned half of it to somebody to keep them out of being on the street. Most of that has been paid back. Most of that half has been paid back. Okay, but the marketing companies, I bought into this crock, and I'll be very polite. Like that's as close to polite. Um, I bought into this line people were telling me, "Oh, we are marketing specialists. We'll help you." Invariably, okay. I think I had 5 different marketing firms I did this with. Okay, not a single one of them got me even an inquiry. Okay, with Buy Me a Coffee, which is the firm I work with now, it's a website, cost me nothing to set up, nothing to maintain, and they take a staggering 10% of what I actually sell. Okay, roughly. Okay, of what they actually sell. I still do all my own marketing. But the reality of it is that it was taking people's word for it. So I am designing my own contract where people can help. You know, where I will design the contract and go to a lawyer and get them to make it legal. Okay. Whereby people can remarket my own material. I have not read that one yet. Philip just going to Prince and the Pauper. Now, I come from behind the 8 ball. Okay, I have fought finances my entire life. Of course, in all fairness, the biggest challenge I had was actually looking at money and going, it has a viable purpose. Okay, let me ask you this: when you take a look at millionaires, what's the first thing you think about, and what's the first concept you have about these people? You know, as in, do millionaires, do the really wealthy seem to have an idea in their head that they're going to be honest with you, that they're going to help you? Now, what I've found is not so much. Now, this year, no, that's all 2025. Oh, that's because I haven't pulled anything out. You know, the reality is, the moment people tell me, oh, I've got money, my usual concept is they've got money, but they don't know what to do with it. You know, I will tell you, I've got some very different views on it. But I just, in a matter of minutes, took my office and went, okay, now it's functional again. And I do have to take that and get it where it belongs. Tell you, I walked way too much today. But I'm looking at this, going, okay, what is success? Well, for me, it's simple. If I'm paying my own way by the work I'm doing, i.e., through consulting fees, through book sales, then I'm quite happy. Okay, that to me is successful. When I don't have to worry about, do I have rent covered? Do I have food on my plate? Philip goes, it's well enough the people of our nation do not understand our banking and money system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Also known as, quote by Henry Ford. Here's the thing. Okay, let's put your money in a bank. Now, The bank gives you X percent, usually a pathetically small amount. Okay, and that amount can range from 0.5%, maybe only a quarter, to, if you're really lucky, 1.5%. Now, the sad reality is that the banks themselves and the big corporations that you're investing in, they are making 20 to 30% on your dollar, and they're giving you two. This is great. But here's the thing, in my opinion. Okay, in my opinion, if they're giving you a percentage, yes, they'll be making more. Okay, and the reality is this: when I put this out, the reason it's $20 is simple, and this is what most people won't tell you. Okay, most authors just won't. This book, I'm not telling you what it costs, but the reason for the 20 is because I cannot afford the shipping for it. Now, the fact that PDFs will be available, I'll be talking to Storm tonight about him getting it on the market. In the meantime, I have a staggering 24 copies, because one of them I'm keeping, okay, that are up for sale. And they are simply a case of, if you drop me a line and you order one, within 3 business days, I will have it in the mail to you. Okay. Now, they are small. The thing is, I put all the chapters in it on standalone item. Okay. And tell you why you don't want to do it. Okay. Because I figure if I tell you what your biggest obstacle is going to be, in all likelihood, if I can shut that down before you're starting to move forward, then we've got a bonus. And you're already ahead of the game. But I got thinking about it, and here's a heads up. When I get all of these written, and I've got a dozen of them coming out, once I get all of them together, okay, right now it's called Believe in Your Success and Follow Your Dreams. Okay, because this is only one part of the puzzle. Okay, once I've got all of them written, I'm going to change the anthology to literally believe in yourself and believe in you and attain, or believe in yourself and attain your dreams. This is being broken down into several different pockets. Now, that said, if you've got an idea on an aspect of life that has been missed, okay, absolutely talk to me. I wonder if I've got it up yet. Okay, let's pop this down behind me here. I'm going to have to pull that apart. That is the file for Inner Voice. The reality of it is this. Yes, other people are going to make money on your efforts. They absolutely will. Society over the last several thousand years has taught you this is normal, that this is acceptable. And I will tell you, when I get to the point where I can start legitimately saying, hey, send me your poem, send me your short story, okay, I will do what I can with it. But here's the kicker. I will never tell somebody this isn't good enough to print. I will tell some of you I'm not printing it. Okay. For instance, when I open that aspect, because Inner Voice is already designed as a publishing company. Okay. Once I figure out how to do the marketing side, I'll open that door. But here's the thing. Too many times somebody says, I've got this dream, I'd like to do this, and somebody else goes, you can't do that. That's way too big of an idea. Okay. Ideas are not the problem. It's not even motivation. It's discipline that seems to be the biggest hiccup. Okay, so I've got all the motivation in the world, all that I require anyway. Here we go. Philip goes aspects of life like dating, exercise, diet plans, and journaling. And I'm going to do us both a favor, okay? Because again, it really boils down to knowing what you did wrong or what you did that was not effective. And one of the biggest things, the common denominator in everybody. Now, what do we got? Sure, take your glass off, can't read. Keep them on, can't write. Okay, what do we got here? And I do appreciate that, Philip. We've got dating, exercise, diet plans, and journaling. Okay. Dating, diet plans, exercise, and journaling. Now, here's the neat little thing. Understand, I am not trained in any of the above, except by what my parents used to call the School of Hard Knocks. Okay, meaning 60 years of making really dense moves. Now, here's a neat thing. Okay, in the dating field, just to give you an idea. Absolutely, number one, be honest. Okay, if you're hiding something from your other half because it's a little weird, and I don't want them, I don't desire to chase them away. Ask yourself one question, just one. Would you rather spend the time getting close to them and then let them know that you've got a quirk, okay, and have them leave? Or would you rather let them know right off the bat, here's my limit? Now, my current wife, with Kira, when I first met her, I told her point blank, when she wrote the subject, I told her point blank, Ken, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I told Kara when I first met her and she wrote the subject of, could we make it work? Right out of the gate, I said, look, two things before you go down that rabbit hole. Two things you got to realize. One, I'm not moving. Period. There was no surprise to it. I'm in Canada. She was in the States. Okay. But I told her flat out, I'm not moving. Period. Okay. I said, second of all, I have a son, a 15-year-old son with mild CP. And if he never moves out, that's the way it is. She knew right from the get-go, those were the boundaries. And because I did that, we now, 5 years later, are married. I told her this is the boundaries. She went, okay. Now, I will tell you, some people make absolutely, but in what I consider, they make decisions that are absolutely bizarre. Okay. People that go, I'm having an open, I'm in open relationships. What this really translates into is I want to be able to cheat and make certain that you're happy and that you're okay with it. This does not work out well in most cases. Here we are. Philip goes, if someone submits hypothetical pages of the Necronomicon, I'm guessing you probably won't publish those. Well, here's a funny thing. I used to have a copy of the Necronomicon. Okay. Now, depending on how it's put out, okay, the ones I won't, these are the ones I'll just flat out not publish. Okay. Is I will not publish, adult entertainment. I won't do it. Adult entertainment is great and absolutely should be printed. I just won't do it. I also will not publish any book that promotes overthrowing a government or annihilating a people. Okay, if that is what it is detailing, I'm not printing it. This doesn't mean it's not a good story. It means I'm not printing it. Okay, The only thing, and the other thing is, if I'm going to print it, and I'm only going to be a small company, well, I'll be a major corporation in time. So, excluding the corporation thing. Okay? Because corporations, to me, there's a problem. Okay? But I'm not about to look at somebody's work and say, it's not good enough. Okay? You take a look at it. I met a guy, I actually knew a guy that took a painting. He took an off-white canvas painting, an off-white canvas, painted the whole thing off-white, surrounded it in baseboard wood, and then called it whiteout and sold it for $1 million. If you can't paint that well, there's a problem. Okay. I've seen things that are just bizarre that people say, "Oh, this is artwork." Take a look at the cartoon that went syndicated. It was literally called Stickman. That was the art. Now, to me, that is not good art. But I'm not going to tell you it wasn't art. Okay? People that can carry a bucket of paint and head towards the wall and trip and throw paint on the wall, they call that modern art. I don't. I am, by the way, looking in the very near future of adding to my merchandise list with things like t-shirts. I wouldn't hold my breath on coffee mugs simply because of the number that the supplier I know of quoted me that I'd have to order. But I will be ordering t-shirts with a number of things that I work with. Where are we here? Yeah, and the neat thing there, Joe, where it comes to exercise, okay, getting like, quite frankly, and I'm not a scientist, I am not a health professional, okay, but I have discovered that the vitamin D that people require in their body kind of works as a photosynthetic reaction. All you got to do, from my experience, and when I'm talking my experience, I have talked to well over 100,000 clients. Okay, and what they found was a simple half hour in direct sunlight really boosted their spirits. Whoa, how you doing? Glad you could join us. We are actually on the upswing. As I said earlier today, we now have our 9th book in print. It'll become available in PDF form in the very near future here. I just have to get a hold of Storm and get him to upload it. Then now he should be getting the form shortly, because my printer should be sending it to him. When that is done, okay, then it'll be available at buymeacoffee.com. So you take the fact that I just filled my pantry. Okay, and tonight I've got to start sorting out how to get it all off my dining room table. Now, bear in mind, my dining room table is 6 feet long by 3.5 wide. It is almost full of canned goods. Okay, of non-perishable. I did that so I could look in the pantry and go, what do I desire? And work from there. Okay, so that is now done. Now I can work out quite nicely. The other thing I did find, and I didn't bring it back with me, but I am looking at this the Believe in Your system. Okay, I've got a number of other ones ready to go. There we go. Philip goes, if you were a scientist with a roaring career, I'd be suspicious of your agenda, to be honest. I appreciate that. And with the number of people I know of that do that, oh, my career's now starting to grow. I'll tell you, I was handed $100,000 when my parents died. Okay, they didn't teach me how to handle it. That is the biggest mistake, and this is why on Mondays on Positive Perceptions, I go through the individual steps. What am I doing to turn it around? Okay, now right now I've got 3 credit cards. All of them are under limit. 2 of them are dormant, as in I put them aside so I don't use them. Where are we? Yeah, Philip goes, I met some awesome scientists with marginalized careers. Um, Now, I do not like. He says like alien scientists. You know, absolutely. There are some really good people out there. I'm still a firm believer that 95% of the population it's chock full of decent people that really desire to move ahead and move and to work with people. Problem is there is so much negativity out there, and this is why I won't promote it. You know, one of the things that I found is this: by looking at the positive side, we take a look around it. There's war, there's famine, there's people getting fired, there's job losses, you know, there's there's rent increases. All of these things are bad. They absolutely are. You know, yeah, Science Bob, I've heard of him. I don't think I've watched him in a long time. But all of these bad things happen, but here's what nobody talks about, or very few talk about. There are weddings, there are graduations, there are birthday celebrations, there are promotions, there are new hirings and new expansions. These are the things that are happening more frequently. And there's more peace around the world than there is war. But people are taught to overlook this. Okay. And this is what I'm no longer waiting for. As I told somebody today, because of the amount of corruption that I've seen across the board, I stopped telling most people what I'm up to. Here, I go, this is what I'm doing. I remember seeing a newscast with Mother Teresa, and people and you had always asked her to come to a peace conference, and she stood there in front of all the cameras and went, "Look, I appreciate the offer, but I will never." They didn't ask her to go to a peace conference. They asked her to go to an anti-war conference, and she says, "I appreciate the offer, but I will never attend an anti-war protest. I will, however, if I ever get an invite to a peace rally, I will absolutely be there if at all possible. The same goes to you guys. I will not go on to a place and start degrading people and going, oh, this politician is bad or this religious leader is bad. I won't do it. On the whole, I absolutely will tell you, most of the ones I see in these positions have been taught how to be absolute doorknobs. Okay. Yeah. Phelps goes, I have a relative who was offered a job in a military science laboratory. He said, no, thank you. And here's why. It's the same problem, and I commend him on that one. The money was probably great, but they will tell you, we want this to kill people. I am looking for a way to give you guys back control of your life. I'm a nobody in the big scheme of things. Okay. But then there are other people in the big scheme of things that were tiny little people. Okay. And still made a difference. I intend on making a difference. And I'm asking your guys' assistance for it. Now, the neat little thing here, because I've got a list, I think I've got a list of 12 already. But and who was that suggested that? I think that was Philip. Where are we here? I'm just scrolling back. There we are. Yes. So, I will tell you this, Philip. I'm going to do articles. I might get to a book, but I will do articles on the things that you've suggested here in positive perception. And here's the nice part. I think it's nice. I've taken to marking down who gives me the idea. Okay. So I will be crediting what name Blair. I've written down who you are so I can reference you because the idea wasn't mine. It really wasn't. This is because I don't know everything. I am, I'd love to say I'm a know-it-all. It sounds so nice and egocentric, and I'm not interested in it. But here's the thing: if you're offered a job that pays really well, and yet hog ties you so you can't do what you like, there is a problem. Okay, and I found the same problem with people buying a new industry, a new business. They look at a business, it's going really well, and I see this so frequently, it's absolutely bizarre. So they buy a business, it's going really well, and they go, okay, I bought it. Now they strip it and change everything, and then wonder why it has trouble. Okay, there are so many great ideas that got turned upside down. Okay, because somebody went, I like the idea, so I'm going to buy it, and then I'm going to bury it. Okay, now I'm a firm believer that every one of you has an idea that will be beneficial. Okay, so I need this because I got to do this right after the stream. Some of you already have the free magazine coming out. Like you probably forgot about it. So I'm just letting people know it's coming out again. And where am I here? I'm going to go over here. And the next time I'm out, I will get the other thing out as well. Because I have to change a few things to put credit right. This is one and I mentioned this before. The number one method of advertising in the world today is the same as it has been for centuries. Okay, and that is word of mouth. Now, right now, what does this go back to? What? There we are. 2652, 7274. We've got a staggering circulation of 74 people right now. I would love for positive perspectives to become a multi-million person subscription level. I really would. Where are we? Philip, where are we? I have another relative who left the Seattle area and moved to Detroit. He works with cars, so Detroit is handy. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I was in Detroit once, decades back. I hope they've changed it. Don't get me wrong, I got nothing against Detroit. But I've seen, for a place that builds cars, you'd think they would have better roads. And I don't mean the layout, I mean the condition. But that's just my personal opinion on it. I have yet to be in a city where I found any people were worse than other people. Okay, yes, I'm Caucasian. And I'm certain there's prejudice out there. I've suffered from it for decades against Caucasian. Okay. Sadly enough, I get treated sometimes better by other nationalities than I do by my own. Primarily because they got a mouth on me. I just don't filter. And I probably should. You know, yeah, Philip's just going. His parents and cousins are back in Seattle. But in Detroit, he was able to afford a down payment on a home. And there is something about that. I had a client that was in real estate. When she came to me, she was having trouble selling a house every 3 or 4 months. Needless to say, she wasn't making good money. I made a couple of adjusted suggestions to her. She followed them. Now, I'm no real estate agent. I'm certainly not a salesperson. Okay, but I made some suggestions. She followed them, and in less than 6 months, was flipping a house a week. Needless to say, she was in pretty good shape pretty soon. My idea is simple. They tell me it's lonely at the top. That's where I'm heading. Okay, I'm done with this fighting to survive. So I'm heading for the top. But there's a saying, it's lonely at the top. Well, I figured, and this is just my logical self going, I figured, well, if it's lonely at the top, oh, look at that. If it's lonely at the top, why not take everybody with me? Now, I just noticed the time. This is where the moderators come in handy. Okay, I only run till 5 o'clock because I got other things I got to get done. But I will be back now. This is Friday, so I'll be back, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I come back in. I'm in by 4 p.m. PST. Okay, and I'm here until 5. I do look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. But tonight at 8 p.m. PST, we will be discussing, who is it? I believe it is the Mobian Empire. I'm just opening this up to get a real quick look. Not Empire. I am looking at... Oh. There we are. Now, tonight, we will be discussing the Mobian homeworld. Now, remember, Mobians evolved on Earth first. Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at their homeworld. And Philip is just saying, just before I go, he goes, I know 2 very small towns where one is very lovely and the next town to it is the opposite of lovely. Visited their websites. The lovely town emphasized the caring community. The other emphasized safety. Now, with this in mind, with all that said, understand, I am changing things on my end. I invite you to join me on the journey because we are going to co-create a better world if people are willing to help. Now, that's sad, or more to the point, when people are willing to help. That said, I do look forward to seeing you again. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.